On this episode of MythBusters, Adam and Jamie risk drowning and dysentery
This water's disgusting!
by testing the veracity of this multi-million hit viral video.
That was very light-footed!
Can man, woman, or a sporting superstar actually manage to briefly run on water?
I'm more nervous for this than I was at the Olympics.
Meantime, Carrie, Tori, and Grant tried blasting a supposedly survivable action movie stunt.
Well, that was definitely the death zone.
When you're desperately diving for cover, just what is, and what isn't, bomb-proof.
You'd probably be bleeding from your ears, but it is bomb-proof.
Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage
That's 100% wacky right there.
and Jamie Heineman. Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience. Joining them, Tori Belleci,
Let's torch this thing!
Grant Imahara,
It's lethal, people.
and Carrie Byron.
Starting to get the idea that this shouldn't be done inside.
They don't just tell the myths,
Oh, yeah.
they put them to the test. First up, a myth that seems to defy the laws of physics.
Jamie, there's a viral video we absolutely have to test.
Double rainbow?
No, this is some dudes by the side of a lake wearing shoes they say are water repellent, and then they proceed to run on the water. They actually run across the surface of the water in these shoes.
I'm dubious.
And that's why we're interested in this. Let's roll the videotape.
This is the clip that's got more than 7 million online viewers rethinking what they thought they knew about, well, sinking. There's not a whole lot to it. Strap on a pair of waterproof shoes, run on a curve to enhance the skimming effect, and keep the faith for a dozen adrenaline-fueled strides.
I think if you don't actually believe that you're going to walk on that water, it's not going to happen for you.
They call it liquid mountaineering. But is this approach to temporarily walking on water a myth or a miracle?
What do you think? Should we just go for it?
I think so. Let's find ourselves a lake and replicate exactly what we see them doing in that clip.
Works for me.
Okay.
Finding a lake that looks much like the one in the clip is the easy part.
Here we are.
It's perfect. Well, let's suit up and go.
Yeah.
That's something we probably don't need to see. And they both find their own paths to privacy.
Now it's time to run on the water.
Adam's optimism should be infectious, but over the years, Jamie's built up a natural resistance.
According to the clip, this is all about the shoe. They're hydrophobic, which means they repel water. And we've got the same type of shoe, and they do seem to repel water. Whether that translates to me being able to run across a lake or something, let's just say I think I'm going for a swim.
According to the viral video, Jamie needs to hit the water at speed, and the turf should ensure traction right down to the lake's edge.
You know, in the clip, they talked significantly about the curve that you enter the water in, like on a long arc, and about believing. You believe? You believe you can do it?
I'm right there. You know me.
All right.
Our first splash test dummy takes a fittingly zen-like approach to the challenge ahead.
It may not look like it, but this is me stretching, getting all pumped up and in the zone.
In seconds, Jamie's going to try exactly what we see the runners do in the video. I think we're going to end up with one soggy Heineman in the water.
All right, here we go.
So much for focus. But maybe it does all come down to self-belief.
3, 2, 1, go!
Or maybe not.
These shoes don't repel water well enough to keep me on top of the water. I just sort of ran into the water, and that's all there is to it.
All right, come on out. I want to give it a shot.
So, any words of advice?
Keep your mouth closed. It's sort of like you should duck poop in there.
Oh, God. No problem.
Adam's instincts tell him a longer run-up might yield a better result.
Okay, I'm ready.
In 3, 2, 1, go!
You really can't fault the execution. In fact, Adam's effort looked just like the ones in the video, except for the end bit.
Oh, this water's disgusting.
So, did you feel like you were on top of the water? I mean, because you didn't really look like it.
I felt like I was getting some good leg motion, like pat, pat, pat on the ground. And then my foot hit the water, and it just kept going. Well, apparently the technique does take some getting used to, so I'm gonna give it another go.
Knock yourself out.
They both decide to continue the testing, desperate to take at least one step on water.
Just continue to not work.
Every single attempt ends with a splash and a crash.
Well, that was a spectacular failure.
Yeah, these shoes are going to have a lot more going for them than water repellents for that to work.
That's true enough.
Now, to a myth that takes self-preservation to its natural conclusion.
All right, so as you guys know, and you guys definitely know, we have tested a ton of myths where we have taken everyday objects to see if they're bulletproof.
Like laptops, sheriff badges,
Yep, and we've also done an episode on what is supposedly stab-proof.
like money.
Exactly, but you know what? This one is gonna trump them all. We are taking everyday objects to see if they're bomb-proof.
And those everyday objects, as suggested by you, the fans, are a table, a car, a wall, and a dumpster. All four inspired by Hollywood. It's the kind of stuff you see all the time in action movies. Moments before a bomb blast, the hero leaps to safety behind a parked car. The heroine is just close enough to reach that cinder block wall. Or the sidekick, who's still got a snappy line or two left in him, finds refuge in the refuse. But we want to know if any of these suburban shields could really save your bacon.
Okay, for the explosive du jour, how about we use C4? That's used in a lot of Hollywood explosions.
Sounds great. And first we should do a control blast to establish the injury zone. Then we're gonna start bringing objects one by one to see if they're bomb-proof.
All right, well, the maximum amount of C4 we can use at the bomb range is 3 pounds. That is gonna be a huge blast.
This is gonna be a cool experiment.
You have no idea how right you are.
For the whole team, this shapes up as a pretty sweet day at the office.
What's bomb-proof? I can't believe we haven't thought of this one before.
The first thing to work out is the perfect test distance between the bomb and the shields. Too close, and the whole experiment just blows to pieces. Too far away, and the shockwave might not be lethal in the first place. So this will take some finessing.
Come on, Byron. Hurry up, we don't have all day. Now, we're gonna set up a number of radii from the epicenter of the blast. At each of these radii, we're gonna put 2 burst discs. One that goes at 13, which is the threshold of injury, and one that goes at 75, which is the threshold of instant death.
We've used burst discs before on the show to find out if various shockwaves were survivable without actually resorting to a human sacrifice.
Nice. That's what I call a result.
All right, so what I have here is our burst discs. They're a thin sheet of aluminum in a concave shape. Now, the way they work is we'll stick them in our holders, and I'll point our holders at the explosion. If the shockwave is strong enough, it's gonna burst the disc, and it's gonna look something like that.
So, in this control blast, they're testing the outer limits of 2 differently calibrated discs. One set for certain death, the other for injury.
Up to some point, once the blast goes off, these are all gonna burst. At the point where they don't burst, inside of that radius is injury. Outside of it is the safe zone. And identical on the other side, inside of the death radius means instant death.
To pinpoint the ideal distance, the burst discs are staggered in 2 sweeping arcs away from the bomb. And that bomb is an old favorite called C4.
It's a plastic explosive, which means it's cyclotrimethylene trinitramine with a plastic binder. Now, the plastic binder has 2 very important jobs. First of all, it makes it stable so that heat and shock aren't going to set this off. We need some sort of detonation. And it also makes it malleable so that you can kind of control the explosion and the direction of it. 3-pound C4.
All right, you guys ready to see how much damage this shockwave can do?
Absolutely.
Charging. And 3, 2, 1.
That was a nice thud.
That was a good one. Let's go check our discs.
I like the high power explosives. They're fun.
3 pounds of C4 is the most we can actually use at the bomb range. And I can see why. That is a nice, high-powered, destructive explosion. We got a beautiful, quick poof, orange, and then nice, clear, kind of sheer destructive blast.
Destructive is right. All that's left of the C4 spike is a stump.
All right, so death side first, what do we got?
We are bursting at 10 feet. So if you're anywhere 0 to 10 feet from the blast, you're dead.
In the staggered arc, the 10-foot disc was the farthest one to burst. The discs at 11 feet and beyond stayed intact, so they've got their range.
All right, let's check injury.
As the shockwave expands, the chance of death, as you'd expect, decreases with distance.
Ooh, look at all these ruptures.
So this is the 20-foot marker.
All the way through.
All right, so that's the injury radius.
0 to 20 feet, you're getting injured.
Once again, they've got their range by noting that the next disc at 21 feet didn't burst. So these are the blast boundaries, just inside 10 feet for certain death and inside 20 for injury. But could everyday objects placed on the edge of the zones really save life and limb? There's just one way to test it, and that's by blowing stuff up. Having totally failed to skip across a lake like a well-pitched stone, Adam and Jamie have reverted to Plan B.
On your marks.
Get set.
And Plan B is a beauty.
Now, if successfully running on the water is dependent on speed, we need someone really fast, and that's where Wallace Spearman behind me comes into the picture. He's 6'3", 170 pounds, and he's run the 200 meters in 19.65 seconds, making him the 5th fastest person in the world at that distance and the perfect test subject for us. How you doing?
Pretty good.
If speed's the missing ingredient, that's what Wallace has brought.
They figure that lightning speed might well be the key to success. And this man also runs the 100 meters in under 10 seconds.
So Wallace, how far do you think you're going to get?
I'm hoping 3 steps.
Just 3 steps?
I'm fast, but I don't know if I'm that fast. We'll see.
Okay. This test is mostly about speed. And Wallace is pretty fast on land. However, when Wallace moves from the land and into the water, he's not going to have the same kind of traction, and that means he's going to slow down really quickly.
I'm more nervous for this than I was at the Olympics.
And fair enough. Even the Olympics can't compare to walking on water. So let's see if sheer speed is the answer.
3, 2, 1, go!
Apparently not.
It's cold. He didn't seem to do any better than any of our other tests.
No, his first step on the water actually was quite a bit further out.
Yep.
But once it touched the water, it went down, same as the rest of us.
But Spearman Jr. hasn't come all this way to pick up his towel and run home.
Take off.
In 3, 2, 1, go!
I don't think it's working, guys.
Try harder.
I got you, coach.
Wallace has also seen the viral video. And just like Jamie and Adam, he's become obsessed with the thought that a minor miracle might be only a quick step away.
He's not quitting.
Nope. You know, one of the things that they talked about extensively in the video was how much you had to want it to run on the water. And Wallace did a fantastic job of that. He talked to us about it. He really wanted to make this work. He thought about his stride. He thought about the way his feet were hitting the water, and he gave it every chance he could, and it was still a total bust.
I want this.
So it turns out, speed's not everything. Maybe if we got Wallace up to about 100 miles an hour, he'd skip across the lake like a rock. But given that humans can only run up to about 30 miles an hour, it's not happening.
So the myth of running on water, as seen on the viral video, is pretty much sunk. But Jamie and Adam still have a few ideas up their neoprene sleeves that might just keep the concept afloat.
All right, so we've done our control test, and it turns out if you are 10 feet away from 3 pounds of C4 exploding, you're dead. If you're 20 feet away, you're gonna be pretty messed up. Now that we've established those distances, we're gonna see if hiding behind an object can protect you from the blast wave.
And the first object might not be your first choice of shelter, assuming you had a choice. That's because it's a plain wooden table.
I don't know. I don't think I'd want to be 10 feet away from 3 pounds of C4 behind just a table.
Oh, come on. That's 3/4 inch pine.
Yeah, it does seem kind of flimsy, huh?
We'll find out how flimsy in just a few minutes. Grant plants the burst disc behind the pine as Carrie and Tori deliver a twin for the 20-foot test.
All right, let's point it towards the blast.
This is the injury zone.
All right, get in there.
Given the likelihood of shrapnel, foam figures are added to catch any potentially fatal shards. But the way Grant sees it, that's not the main threat.
So when we're looking at what is bomb-proof, what we're actually looking at is a branch of physics called fluid dynamics, because we're looking at the movement of air, and air is technically a fluid. Now, when you set off a high explosive, such as C4, what it does is create a high-velocity, high-pressure wave of air. And that high pressure is potentially what is deadly to you.
With one table just 10 feet from ground zero and the other a scant 20,
13 PSI for the injury zone.
it's a test that seems certain to end in splinters. Unprotected, we know that a blast of C4 would ruin your health. Now, to see if a simple pine table can save you.
All right, so what I have here is 3 pounds of C4. I know it doesn't look like much, but wait till it goes off.
As the warning rings out across the land, the team reconvenes in the one place out here they know is bomb-proof, the bunker.
All right.
Here we go.
Okay, this is what is bomb-proof wooden table.
All right, charging. In 3, 2, 1.
Whoa!
Wow.
Well, that was definitely the death zone.
Now, one table is down, but the other table is still standing.
Let's go look at the damage.
No prize for guessing which table is gone and which one looks kind of intact. But the rubble inside the death zone has a surprise in store.
There's no table
The
left.
table is completely destroyed.
Oh my God.
No way! The burst discs are intact.
What the heck? How is that possible?
The table must have deflected the pressure wave.
That's exactly what it did, even if Tori finds the data hard to swallow.
Well, there is no way you would have come away from this uninjured.
No, but by our criteria, you would not have instantly died.
Grant makes a good point. Incredibly, a simple wooden table made an otherwise fatal explosion survivable. Now, to check out the injury disc at the 20-foot mark.
Okay, well, the table's still standing.
Let's see.
Sort of.
It's not burst. It's
Is the other
definitely
one?
crinkled.
You may have got away without any injury on this one.
Okay, these results are so interesting. Let's go check out the high speed. I'm dying to see what it looks like.
Me too. And it looks like that massive shockwave was at least interrupted by the table that Tori quite recently called flimsy.
Whoa!
Wow.
Look at the waves.
Yeah, you see the waves pass right over the top. So it looks like it is bomb-proof as far as the pressure wave goes.
Yeah, but I mean, look at all that shrapnel.
This is so counterintuitive because the disc didn't burst, but that table is in shreds.
Both tables absorbed the brunt of the blast. In the 10-foot death zone, extreme shrapnel from the shattered wood might have been fatal, but the shockwave wouldn't. And at 20 feet, you will remain snug and safe. Next up is our second potential blast blocker.
Go!
So far, Adam and Jamie and a world-class runner have failed to replicate this viral video. So it's time to think outside the box.
Well, we couldn't make it work, and speed is definitely not a factor. So where do we go from here?
Well, I think I may have found the grain of truth at the heart of this myth.
Really?
Really. It turns out there's a basilisk lizard, otherwise known as the Jesus Christ lizard, that actually can run on water.
It can?
It can.
Really?
Really.
Yeah, really. This remarkable reptile can run as far as 20 yards across the water's surface. And that's just the kind of inspiration they need to replicate the results of the viral video.
All right, looks like his feet are actually slapping the surface of the water, but they're continuing to push down and back as he's moving along.
Also, it's not like he's running like this. He's like running with his legs out.
Yeah, in
Like
an
that.
oar-like fashion.
I could watch this all day.
But that's not gonna happen. Based on what they just saw, Adam and Jamie will each build their own versions of lizard-human hybrid footwear. The aim is the same, to run on water. Where the waterproof shoes failed, these just might do the job.
So after looking at all the scientific papers that I've got about the physics of how this lizard stays above the water, it really seems to come down to the surface area of its foot and how hard it smacks the water. That's my takeaway from this. So I am going to try and give these cute little shoes as much surface area as possible while keeping them as light and runnable as possible so that they can be quick and nimble when they hit the water. I want them to hit the water as hard as they can.
The design details of Adam's water-smacking lizard loafers are all in his head. The hinge in his feet shows that flexibility is a key factor, but otherwise, it's a case of watch and wait. Jamie, however, lays all his cards on the table.
I figure, why mess around?
It's clear from the get-go that we're witnessing the birth of the shovel shoe. Patent pending.
Now, a lizard foot is an incredibly hard thing to replicate. It's a whole bunch of finely muscled and jointed segments all working together that allow it to run on water. So I've taken a kind of intuitive leap here. I'm hoping that cupped shape of the inverted shovel blade will cut into the water and then scoop it backwards. Once it's finished with the first sweep, it should be easy enough to pull the whole thing forwards without dragging half the lake back with it. And just so you don't break your ankles, the attachments I'm using here are slightly modified boots and ankle braces from snowboards.
Meantime, Adam proves he's the master of multitasking. If you're not sure what he's up to, here's a clue.
So his tail's coming out to about here.
Seems like it's counterbalancing him.
Yeah. Also potentially, ruddering.
Yep, in the quest to build a better lizard, Adam's decided it's not all about the feet. The basilisk lizard has substantial counterbalance, so an articulated tail is deemed essential equipment.
Yeah, it's a big tail, so what?
Adam's done, and Jamie's shovel shoes are also ready for action.
That might work.
So it's back to the very same lake that proved so unsupportive the first time around. But they have changed the stunt staff.
Our water walking lizard today will be played by Jessica. She's 58 1/4 inches tall, weighs 100 pounds, and she's an acrobat. We think that her strength, her agility, and her diminutive size make her the perfect candidate to help us make this work. You feeling ready?
Ready.
Let's do it.
If either design stands a chance, it makes sense to strap them to the lightest, most agile frame they can find.
First up is the control, our point of comparison. Jessica is going to run into the water without any apparatus on her, just like we did.
Jessica's faster than Adam and Jamie. She's much lighter, and the odds are she should do a little better.
Here we go. Running on water, control, in 3, 2, 1, go! She is fast.
Yep.
Come on out. Nice work. Let's get you dry.
Checking the high speed, it's hard to see any marked improvement over Adam and Jamie. She ran, she hit water, and she sank.
Come on in.
But maybe, just maybe, Adam's giant shoes will reverse the result. The biggest obstacle to buoyancy is that Jess is denser than water. But then again, so is a lizard. The basilisk spreads scaly fringes between its toes to increase its surface area on the water, which is what Adam's tried to do. Then it all comes down to speed and balance.
Now, if you would start just walking slowly around, lift your feet, and let's see.
Jess has to walk before she can run, and she's a fast learner.
How does that feel?
Awkward.
Can you get some fast movement there?
She's got the feet flapping. Now all that remains is to get the tail wagging.
So, tail's gonna go about like that. If you grab that and that. Now, if it's true that we are minutes away from setting lizard-human hybrid history and walking a human on the water, it will be because of my two-pronged attack. First prong is the feet, providing the widest possible surface area for Jessica to smack the water with, providing hopefully enough up pressure to keep her above the surface, and giving her the same amount of flexibility as her normal feet, or as close as we could achieve. The second prong is the tail, acting as both a rudder and a stabilizer. A lizard wouldn't run across the water without it, and neither will our acrobat.
How's she gonna do? Well, she looks about as close to a Jesus lizard as you can get at this point. It worked for the lizard, maybe it'll work for her.
Let's do it.
If nothing else, our acrobat's about to prove she's no lounge lizard.
In 3, 2, 1, go! You can do it! Yes, 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 yes! Oh! How you doing? You all right? Astonishingly, it did not work.
It's like stuck in the mud.
Oh, really?
Jess did her best, but it's fair to say the rig fell short of its early promise.
Did you feel like the shoes held you above the water at all?
Not at all.
No? You just plunged right in?
Yep.
Do you think the tail was holding you back?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Should we try it again without the tail?
Okay.
Excellent. Can we get a towel? Now, it's well known that some lizards, when presented with danger, can actually detach their tails and get rid of them to escape faster. And that's what our lizard wants to do, so that's what we're going to allow her to do.
Actually, our lizard would sooner be basking on a hot rock, but she's in for the long haul.
You think this one's going to do any better?
Not really.
All right, well, let's find out. Here we go, running on the water, lizard-human hybrid without the tail. In 3, 2, 1, go!
I'm at it!
That's the spirit. Was that any better than the previous one?
Definitely.
Really?
I had much more freedom.
Jess might have felt as free as a bird, but the high speed shows she still sank like a badger. Now it's all up to Genius Jamie to prove that a man or woman can walk on water.
So far, testing what is bomb-proof, it turns out that the table will save you from death and injury from the blast wave. However, at 10 feet, it will not save you from the shrapnel.
But a wooden table is a world away from a mostly metal car. It's another classic Hollywood refuge suggested by fans. The silver sedan is set side on to the blast, out on the 20-foot ring.
And stop.
So this is our 13 PSI burst disc here at the edge of the injury zone, and it's right here behind the wheel where, you know, if you were hiding from an explosion, you'd crouch.
Whether or not that's a smart move, we'll find out when the bomb goes off. The white car drew the short straw, so it's in the death zone.
A little more.
And the death disc now has an injury disc for company.
What I've done now is added an injury disc in the death zone, because what I want to find out is, will the blast cause injury in the death zone now that the car is in place?
Good question, and hopefully we're about to get a firm answer. All they need now is a volunteer to catch any shrapnel.
Better you than me.
Okay, so we've got 2 cars set up and 3 pounds of C4 between them. I think it's gonna be a pretty good shield.
Carrie agrees that the car should block the shockwave,
Check out this man.
but she's still convinced it'll all end in tears.
If the burst disc rupture, it's not from the wave. It's because a car's gonna fall onto him. It's right next to that bum. It tore a table in half. It's gonna smash that car straight into those.
She might be right. If you're crushed by the shelter you're cringing behind, that does kind of defeat the purpose.
Here we go.
This is gonna do some serious damage to those cars.
Yeah.
No question, but what damage, if any, will the C4 do to someone huddled behind the hubcaps?
Okay. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
You know what? That looked like a pretty good bomb shield.
Dude, did you see how far it moved the car?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure. Let's check it out.
It's clear that the car nearest the bomb took a beating. But just to build the suspense, they checked the injury zone discs first.
Oh my gosh, look at the damage it did to that car. It shattered the window, knocked the hubcaps off.
Wow, that is intense.
But the disc tells its own story.
They're not burst. We're good.
All right, looks like we're bomb-proof against injury at 20 feet.
Perfect, let's check for death.
Awesome.
So now for the big one. Behind the death zone car was a death disc and an injury disc.
Wow!
That is crazy.
There's no way you survived it.
Expectations are not high.
Oh my God. You survived.
You survived death?
Yeah.
You don't die.
No.
You live.
You live.
It takes a while to sink in. Even though the injury disc burst, the death disc did not.
So, by our criteria, then, car is bomb-proof.
Looks like there's some truth to these action films after all.
The high speed shows the car buffeted 5 feet, which would knock you flat. Most of the glass shattered, and the burst injury disc shows you wouldn't jump up shouting, "You missed me." But given this methodology and this amount of C4, a car is a safe shelter.
This was a really cool explosion. Honestly, I thought the car would get a lot more torn up, but it turns out it's a really good block. We did not burst the instant death disc.
Now, this is a really interesting result. We found that a car prevents you from dying in the death zone and prevents you from getting injured in the injury zone, which means that it's bomb-proof.
Adam and Jamie are rapidly realizing that the concept of man running on water is every bit as improbable as it sounds.
Running on top of the water is totally possible. If you're a bug, something tiny like a water strider is small enough and light enough to rely on the surface tension of the water to stay on top of it. As we get larger, though, things like Jesus lizards have to run really hard to be able to do that. And as we get larger still, something like waterfowl, like a duck, they can run on top of the water too, but they need help. They use their wings.
Adam built 2 fancy lizard feet and a Godzilla tail. All he managed to do was to half-drown an acrobat.
I can't say that my rig was a success. I mean, we definitely did not see the human-lizard hybrid skipping across the water that I had dreamed about.
But Jamie has dreams of his own, and Jessica's job is to make them come true.
So what do you call these, shovel shoes?
Shovel shoes they are. Kind of has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
Yep.
True to form, Jessica's soon up and flapping.
How about trying to do a little run?
It seems like she's found her inner lizard.
There you go. It's just what the Jesus lizard does. Whatever, you know, just flail at it. Now let's go back down to the water.
But any purchase of Jamie's shovel shoes comes with a free gift, a kind of outrigger walking frame that adds balance, much like a tail does, but up front.
While a tail may provide a certain amount of stability, I figure that we can do the same thing in the front with the ski, but with the ski we'll also get a certain amount of supporting lift on the water. And that way, with her scooping away at the water behind, she'll be pushing the ski in front of her, and we might just get a little more distance out of it.
Jamie's also relying on a bigger surface area to help keep Jess afloat. But Adam's shoes were flat, and these concave feet could make a real difference. On the other hand, the ski's too cumbersome to carry, so she won't get much of a run-up.
Okay, shovel shoes in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, that was just embarrassing. So maybe the ski should go the way of the tail.
All right, shovel shoes without the sled. In 3, 2, 1, go. Hey.
She's a good sport.
Uh-huh. We could try this 100 times, and I don't think we'd get running on water.
No, I don't think we would.
The viral video myth of running on water has been long busted, but it's still worth checking the high speed to see if either one of the enhancements has helped or hindered. Adam carefully traces every variation to match up with Jessica's first control test.
This one right here is the control, and I would look for any improvement being any line that went above that.
Okay.
And yet all of our tests fall below that, and actually they're all pretty consistent. And sometimes it's 1 step, sometimes it's 2 steps, but still, she's sinking at a much faster rate with all of our stuff strapped on her feet than she is when she's just in the control.
Which is also probably due to the fact that she's removing a lot faster.
Yeah, absolutely. I think speed is probably one of the most critical factors, and everything we put on her made her go a lot slower.
It looks like it's back to the drawing board. or not.
So here's where we're at. We are testing the myth of what is bomb-proof. And so far, we've tested a wooden table and a car. And as it turns out, those things are bomb-proof, both in the death zone and in the injury zone. Next up, we're gonna test one of these, a dumpster. It's like in the action movies where a bomb's going off, hero sees the dumpster, thinks, oh, I'll jump in there and be safe.
Whatever happens, it looks like they've already confirmed the myth that getting in is a whole lot easier than getting out.
What a shame. Somebody threw away a perfectly good MythBuster.
A little help.
As with the table and the car, they'll test 2 dumpsters, one at the 10-foot death zone and one at the 20-foot injury zone.
Perfect! If this doesn't work out, we could be trash man.
Okay, this is the 13 PSI.
All right, this is the injury disc.
Yep.
Once again, they fit an injury and a death disc in the death zone dumpster. Now, you'd think those 4 steel walls would be the best shelter yet against having a bomb churn your insides to custard.
But here's the thing. It's a mostly enclosed box, except for the lid. If that energy wave actually diffracts around the top edge, because it has these rigid walls inside, you could see some reflection and possibly get higher pressures inside of the box.
And that same exact thought has already occurred to Carrie.
If the wave happens to bounce off the backside of the dumpster, if it amplifies, we might burst one of the discs.
Uh-oh, bomb's going off.
But Tori's got no time for this kind of trash talk.
You know what? I have a feeling these are gonna act just like a bunker. I mean, you're surrounded by steel. The roof is open, but I think the shockwave is gonna go right over you. You might get some ear damage, but I think you're gonna be pretty good.
And the catalyst for catastrophe is still 3 whole pounds of plastic explosive.
Let's do this.
In 3, 2, 1.
Wow, that looked pretty good. Those dumpsters look in pretty good shape.
Yeah, let's
That
check
one
it
on the
out.
right went boom.
The 13 PSI disc in the injury dumpster remains intact, so you'd be unscathed at 20 feet. And the death zone dumpster doesn't look too much the worse for wear.
You know, for being so close to that blast, this dumpster looks in pretty good shape.
Hey, the 75 PSI disc is not ruptured.
Yeah, but the injury disc is busted, so you're gonna survive, but you're injured.
But some of the shockwave must have penetrated, or the injury disc wouldn't have burst. Still, the dumpsters did well. Injury-free at the injury zone, and alive but unwell at the death zone.
So this is the dumpster that was 10 feet away from the C4 blast. And look at it, it's in pretty good shape. I mean, it's got some concaving happening, so it took a lot of the shock. But I mean, it acted like armor. And our death disc did not burst, which means if you were in here, you would have survived. You'd probably be bleeding from your ears, but it is bomb-proof.
So far, the results have surprised everyone, not least because every shelter tested inside set parameters actually would save your life. Next and last is a cinder block wall. And if you think you know how this one goes down, all I can say is you're probably wrong.
This, though it looks very sturdy, I mean, technically this is composed of several little pieces. So you can think of it as the most liquid of all of the obstacles we've tested, which means that it quite likely will absorb that energy, but not blow it all out.
If Grant's prediction sounds a bit soft in the center, Carrie's prepared to go in hard.
So after everything we've seen, I'm pretty sure that this wall is going to block the wave and you're gonna survive behind it and you're gonna get no injuries behind it. I mean, it's a brick freaking wall.
Point taken, and they've only built one brick freaking wall, as Tori explains.
So we only have one wall to test this one, but we still have to have the death zone, which is 10 feet away, and the injury zone, which is 20 feet away. So since we only have one wall, we're gonna have to move our blast zone to 10 feet and 20 feet.
Common sense says start wide and work your way in. So Tori sets the first charge at the 20-foot mark. Grant fits the 13 PSI injury disc, and Carrie supplies the styrofoam stunt band. Now to see if a freestanding cinder block wall is as solid and as safe as it looks.
In 3, 2, 1, fire! Wow! I never get tired of that!
That was
All right, that was a big blast.
All right, let's see if it was bomb-proof. The wall's still intact.
It is.
And the disc?
And the disc is crinkled, but still intact.
So it's bomb-proof for injury.
All right, let's see if it'll save your life.
They're down to the last 3 pounds of explosive, and halving the distance from last time brings it all into perilous perspective.
All right, 10 feet is right here.
Oh my God, that's so close.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna destroy this wall.
All right, bang it in.
The wall itself was examined and patched up, so it's just as strong as before.
Very trusting right now.
No longer.
Grant installs the last 2 burst discs.
All right, 75 and 13.
And the bunker beckons.
In 3, 2, 1, firing!
Oh my God! Down went the wall.
That wall is gone.
I don't know if the disc is ruptured, but I think a brick would fall on your
I
head.
think we have shrapnel.
I don't think that's bomb-proof at all.
Let's go check it out.
It sure doesn't look it. Barely a single brick is still joined to another. But the bomb-proof proof all rests with those sensitive discs. We're testing the lethality of the shockwave, pure and simple.
Hey!
They both survived.
So both discs are still intact.
All right, so it looks like the wall protects you from the shockwave, both from injury and death.
It's an amazing result. The blast was big enough to turn the wall to rubble, but the wall would still save you from death and even injury. Incredibly, all 4 shelters made an otherwise fatal blast survivable, which is a massively surprising result. And the foam figures showed that serious shrapnel was only a factor with the wooden table.
I wonder what else is bomb-proof.
What about duct tape?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Phone books.
Ooh, I like that one. All right, well, as incredible as it seems, I think we're gonna have to call myth confirmed on all 4 shelters. I mean, they were technically bomb-proof in the parameters that we set up.
Yeah, but we should make it clear that if the blast were any larger or the explosion any closer, that'd be a different situation.
Yeah, we were specifically testing the blast wave, and if you dive behind something solid, it's definitely gonna dampen it. But shrapnel, now that's unpredictable.
We've tried everything we can to successfully run on the water. We've tried it ourselves. We brought in an Olympic-class runner. And we even made a human-lizard hybrid by strapping 2 special sets of shoes to a gymnast. Yes, yes! Oh! And nothing has worked. I think you'll agree that this thing is busted, but of course we can't leave it there. We want to see us run on water, which means we've got to cheat this sucker. And I think you know on MythBusters, when we're about to cheat something, that means we're going to utilize a pile of wood and a pile of steel. Let the cheating begin.
We've proved that this viral video is a big fat fake. Still, you've got to applaud the skill and the effort that made running on water look possible. Now it's our turn. And Jamie's an old hand at old-fashioned special effects.
What we have in mind is a bridge, but instead of going over the water, our bridge will go under the water, maybe a couple of inches or so. You won't be able to see it, but we'll be able to run on it, just like they did in the clip.
But building a sub-aqua sidewalk is a whole lot trickier than it sounds.
We're using square tube steel for the frame because it's relatively easy to cut and weld. Obviously, also, it's less buoyant than wood, and that means that we won't have to weight it down as much to keep it stable.
But they do need a wood surface to run on. It's got enough give to enhance the illusion of running on water.
Awesome.
The next step is to camouflage it black.
Look at that. White shirt, black paint. That's what being fearless is all about.
What?
The black paint should reflect the least amount of light, and it's all tied together with a long strip of flexible, clear plastic.
This is the device that will allow us to look like we're running on the water. It's an underwater bridge. It has two features that'll make this extra realistic, I believe. One, a set of adjustment nuts all the way down that'll allow us to precisely calibrate its distance under the water. I believe it's about 1.5 to 2 inches will be ideal. And two, this wooden top actually floats, which means when we run along it, it's actually gonna give a little bit, hopefully lending an extra realistic aspect to our running.
All that remains is to sink it precisely to 2 inches under, and that calls for teamwork.
It's beautifully balanced.
Oh, good.
Let's walk on down.
Okay.
The basic concept of a sunken catwalk is pretty straightforward.
Does that seem right?
I think that seems right. It looks great. Let's lower it down.
But the uneven contours of the lake bed force Adam to make some adjustments. After a delicate tap or two, both Adam and Jamie are convinced that they're good to go.
I know. You're thinking, I can totally see that bridge. How is this thing gonna work? Well, remember, special effects isn't only about building a prop, it's also about how you film the prop. We're not gonna film this from this angle. We're gonna film it from this angle. See? No bridge.
Do you see a bridge?
No bridge.
No bridge.
Now let's see if our fake measures up to theirs.
Since I'm about to pretend to run on water, I might as well start by pretending to psych myself up.
Okay, here we go. Running on water by cheating. In 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, that looked great.
Beautiful.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how it's done.
Ours was a fraud, and it looks like theirs was too.
My turn.
But Jamie knows better than anyone that reliable results should be repeatable.
3, 2, 1, go! Go! You got it! Yes! Beautiful!
And repeatedly repeatable. Not to mention reproduced, replicated, and duplicated, just to be on the safe side.
That was very light-footed.
That worked pretty well.
Yeah.
In fact, it matched the viral video so well that the only way to call this myth is busted.
Well, I think the take-home from this is that when you need a little magic to make something work, movie magic will suffice.
And don't believe everything you see.
Exactly.
After you.